Last time on Improv Tabletop, we followed up with Ripper Cedar at his memory of his high school prom, this memory going much, much better in his mind than it actually did in real life. And so, following his willful suspension of disbelief, he brought Esmeralda, the girl of his dreams, down to his uncle's property and broke and entered so that he could take her to the greenhouse. Meanwhile, his friends and enemies were following alongside, Irving Churchill to make sure that this night was recorded for posterity's sake, and Gregory Brontanium trying to make a final bid to sabotage Ripper while the night was still young. After some altercations with some sharpened jacks like caltrops and Irving getting completely flattened on the road, we finally ended up at the greenhouse itself, where Esmeralda revealed that she knew that this reality was not correct and was very angry at Ripper for having abandoned her for so long in the greenhouse. A large confrontation cropped up, during which Ripper's friends and enemies came together to try and futz with the situation a little bit, and turns out at the last moment, Gregory did show his true colors as a friend to Ripper and stepped in, both of them, to help him and Esmeralda to escape from the possession that Esmeralda had been undertaken by through the machinations of Ripper's grandfather far down below the old great tree. And having escaped from the situation with grandfather claiming Gregory as a replacement offering in the place of Esmeralda, who had just escaped, Ripper found himself in a strange liminal space between dimensions where he was able to speak with his father Stan for a moment, realizing that it was up to him to stop his grandfather before he did some crazy something. Nobody's entirely sure what he's doing, but he's nuts, and we gotta stop him. Mm-hmm. And as Stan drifted back into the aether, he was replaced by Safari Smith flying at top speed directly into Ripper and Esmeralda. They are now gathered back together, and Esmeralda, using Ripper's machete, cut open a hole into another dimension where they hoped they would be able to get back in touch with Maud. And what on earth is happening to Maud?
Oh no!
What's going on as she has been falling down the Badger's hole this entire time?
No, no!
Let's find out here in the world of Jumanji Falls.
I love how long these intros are.
They keep getting longer. They just keep getting longer. This story is so complex, so many twists and turns, much more so than I was anticipating. But hey, that's improv. Sometimes you just start going and you end up where you end up.
Baby!
In any case, what's shaking, everybody? You're listening to Improv Tabletop, the Fate RPG actual play where we make up everything on the spot. I'm Ned Wilcock, your host and GM, and today I'm joined by
Caleb Anderton, El Hopeness Romtic,
Heather, anxiously awaiting,
And Thomas, a buff squirrel.
Yes, we do. I forgot about Gerard.
You can never forget about him.
How did I forget about Gerard?
Never forget about Never forget about Gerard.
Gerard was really strung out the last time we saw him.
Still is.
I mean, we've all been wondering how Maud's been doing. How has Gerard been doing this whole time? I'm excited to find that out.
That's why the people came back.
There we go.
He's only been getting buffer.
Exactly. Oh, man. Well, we've got all kinds of things to discover here in the 7th episode of this campaign. Holy cow.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into the story, just like with Safari Smith and Ripper before her, it's time for Maud to level up.
Yeah.
And so, starting at the beginning with our minor milestone, you get to choose one of the following. You can switch the ratings of any two of your approaches. You can rename one aspect that isn't your high concept. You can exchange one stunt for a different stunt. Or you can choose a new stunt at the expense of one of your 3 refresh points.
So, just a disclaimer to the listeners. I always really like to go with where I think the progress of my character at the story is, whether that's detrimental or not.
Mm-hmm.
So, just letting you know that. You might be thinking, obviously do this because you're about to die. But I feel like at the moment, Maud was fungused. She was hypnotized. She's coming down. So I feel, you said I could change my approaches, right?
Yep, you can swap the ratings of any two of your approaches.
I think that's what she's going to do because I feel right now she's not necessarily forceful because she's kind of hypnotized. So I think I'm gonna switch quick and forceful.
All right, bringing quick to a +3 and forceful to a +2. Now, speaking of Maud being fungused, also at a minor milestone, if you have a moderate consequence, check to see if it's been around for 2 sessions. If so, you can clear it.
Hey.
Well, what do we count as sessions? Because, I mean, Maud wasn't in the last 2 sessions, so technically it happened the last session for Maud.
This is true. Do you want to hang on to that consequence then?
I think so.
All right.
She just got fungused. It wouldn't make sense.
Okay, I'm going to give you a fate point for that, because I think that's very noble of you to make that narrative sacrifice.
Woo! That's what I really wanted. An extra fate point, because I'm going to need it.
All right, now to our significant milestone. You gain both of the following benefits. If you have a severe consequence that's been around for at least 2 sessions, you can clear it. Not applicable. Next, you can raise the bonus of one of your approaches by 1.
Let's do, narratively speaking, with her being hypnotized and everything, do you guys think it would be more prudent to do quick or flashy? Because I think sneaky, clever, careful, I think her mind's gone. So it's all reflexes.
Remember that these are your stats that will carry on even after the condition of being fungused goes away.
That's true. You're right. I think it's going to be... Can you go up to a 4?
You can, in fact.
I think it would be quick because she still has those animal primal instincts.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah.
All right, so +4 quick. This is the highest stat of any of our characters in this campaign.
Fate history here.
Yes. That is our significant milestone, and now for our major milestone, you can do all of the following. You can take an additional point of refresh, which you may immediately use to purchase a stunt if you wish, or you can just start every session with 4 fate points.
I'd like the stunt.
All right, what kind of stunt do we want to give to Maud?
I feel like it's got to be jacked up badger. Makes sense, right?
Indeed. You can call upon the aid of your good friend Gerard.
Just throw him at something.
Exactly. All right, so jacked up badger, very good.
Jacked up badger.
And now, the final option available to you at this level up is you can rename your high concept aspect if you would like.
Oh. What would that change?
It would change the implications about what is most meaningful to Maud. Because right now, your identity is very tied up in the fact that you are definitely, absolutely raised by badgers, no question about it. And there are implications that come with that. You are a wild person who does a lot of wild things. You're very comfortable in the wild. You're very comfortable around animals. You can speak with animals. And this is definitely something that still is meaningful to Maud, but at this point in her journey, is it the thing that is like most crucial to her core identity? If yes, we can keep it the way it is. If you want to change it, that option is available to you.
Okay, I want to amend it. Because I think definitely absolutely raised by badgers is still very valid. But I'm going to say, but also there's this other guy.
So you are a being of 2 worlds.
I love that.
Yeah, I think she's
2
finally
worlds,
acknowledging
1 family.
that there is a tie to some other guy, one of the 2 guys.
All right, so now, final thing we can do for you is we can clear your stress track. And now we are ready to get back into the story.
Awesome.
So, picking up right where we left Maud, falling down a deep, deep, deep hole to goodness knows where. How is Maud feeling about falling down this pit?
I think for Maud, she doesn't feel that she's falling because she's literally like bear hugging this abnormally huge and buff squirrel badger.
It's all right. I got you, Matt.
And just like kind of flying. It's kind of the sensation you have when you're on the back of a motorcycle hugging someone, even though you know you could fly off at any second. It's nice and feels comfortable. No romantic feelings here, obviously. But
Strictly platonic.
I think she's just trusting Gerard.
All right. So as the 2 of you are falling down this pit, Maud, what is the last thing you think you see down below you before everything goes black?
Oh, there's definitely, it almost feels like a Coco moment. I'm thinking like where the Day of the Dead faces flash like skeletons and stuff, or the old Charlie and the Chocolate Factory where
tunnel?
like they're in the tunnel. Yeah.
And no one quite knows where we are going.
Yes. So it's like, I would say more that one where it's just these flashes of like random faces that don't mean anything to her, but there are 7 faces.
Yes, all of these twisted, tormented visages as you're falling down into this pit. There are some that you think might look a little bit familiar, but they have been altered somehow. You're not able to quite pick up on what exactly the look is that they have, but you continue falling down, down, down. And after a certain amount of time, you wake up and you feel yourself not in dirt and muck and grime like you're used to when you wake up. You feel cloth everywhere.
Yeah.
Ugh, cloth. Normal people stuff.
How restrictive.
This cloth is ominous.
What does it look like? Is it like bedding cloth? Can I open my eyes?
You open your eyes, and there is a cloth draped over the top of you.
Oh, no.
On this mattress. You're like, what? This exactly? It's restrictive. You try and move, but there's a sheet. You try and move that out of the way, but then there's like a duvet on top of that, and you try and move that out of the way, and then there's like a quilt on top of that.
It's all stuck in the bottom for some reason.
Yeah, you're just like imprisoned under all of these, like they're so comfortable. Why are they so comfortable? It shouldn't be this way. And as you're kind of flailing around in here, you hear a knock at a door, and you look around and see, okay, you're in a pretty nice looking room. There's paintings up on the walls. There's a rocking horse in one corner. There's a pretty big dollhouse in another corner. There's a closet, a big, wide sort of walk-in closet with fancy dresses of all kinds in there. And you hear the door kind of creak open a little bit, and a voice says, "Lady Maud, your breakfast is ready."
So my head's no longer covered then. I feel like I can't move my body, but my face is uncovered.
Correct.
Okay, as that happens, she's gonna try even harder to get out of the sheets and like roll off under the bed.
All right. That sounds pretty quick to me. Go ahead and roll to overcome with quick.
5!
Wow, okay.
Nice.
I'm going to now roll for the butler, Reginald, to see if he can notice you as you're hiding underneath the bed. He steps into the door, and you can see in the gap underneath the mattress, you're underneath the bed, and it's like, it's so clean under here. And you have this sense in the back of your head, even though you've never slept in a bed in a child's room before, you have this sense of like, it should not be clean under this bed. Why is it clean under this bed? And you're looking out from underneath the bed, and you see this very finely polished pair of shoes, kind of pointy and with like buckles on them and stuff, come stepping in with a click, click, click against the very finely polished wooden floor. There's some nice rugs, some plush rugs placed here and there, and the feet pause, and the voice says, "Lady Maud, where have you gone to? I just heard you having a difficult time. What can Reginald do for you? I've brought your breakfast."
Reginald.
She is going to... You said there's nothing under the bed at all.
Unless you think it might be narratively interesting for there to be something under the bed.
You mean Gerard's not with me?
Oh, yeah. You get under the bed, and what should you see?
A squirrel! Okay, am I dressed differently, or do I still have like the Ripper clothing on me?
You've got this very nice, like, velour nightgown that you're wearing.
Gross.
Very soft. It's monogrammed with MS on the chest. Maud Smith, your name. You can feel that your hair is not frizzy and sticking out everywhere. There's no twigs in it. There's no leaves in it. It's soft. It's straight. It's smooth and silky, as if it's been freshly washed.
Gross.
I wish you guys could see the look of concern on Heather's face right now.
With all of this information, I felt that Maud was feeling fairly hypnotized and that she was gonna go willingly to this voice of the tree that called to her, but they done gave her a bath. She's gonna grab Hedgenold's ankle and pull and try to knock him out. She done.
Okay. I mean, it sounds forceful to just grab a man and drag him under a bed.
Done.
All right.
Probably shouldn't have changed that approach.
He's going to roll to see if he can notice you reaching out to grab his ankle. Wow. He got a -1.
I got a +1.
Okay, yes. You grab Hedgenold, pull him by the ankle, his head smacks into the floorboards with a big clunk, and the silver platter that he was carrying goes flying up into the air, and you can hear the shattering of a teacup over here and a plate over here, and like as he lands and his head smacks against the floor, you can see like the birds beginning to twirl around his head, his eyes are kind of loopy, and then a big glob of oatmeal just splatters on his face. And so you start like pulling him underneath the bed. He's kind of dazed, not unconscious, but not really putting up a struggle. Gerard, what do you think of all of this? You're in this like well-manicured area, and Maud does not look like Maud, but you can tell it's Maud. Weird stuff is going on. How are you feeling?
Yeah, well, since my hair is directly parted down the middle with like this grease and like slathered onto my head, I'm like, so I'm in the good life right now, huh? Okay, this is, I've seen how the uppity ups, and Gerard's actually like pretty happy that he's here. He's happy that he's in society, is what he will say. But seeing that Maud is not in a good place and just not really Maud, he's gonna run over to there and kind of like jump near her shoulder because he's still jacked and not a normal size. And so he's gonna go, he's gonna grab onto Maud's leg and go, Maud, I'm scared. I don't have anything to eat right now.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm still under the bed, right?
Yes, you are under the bed.
So he's grabbing my leg.
Yeah, under the bed. I'm just like, Maud's the only comforting thing under here. I'm grabbing her leg and I'm trying to be soothed by her for the time being.
Maud jumps, just turns, sees that it's him.
That's okay.
Oh, Gerard.
Karate hands, wardingly towards Maud while we're both freaked out.
Gerard, something is wrong. And she's just gonna crawl out and grab this big buff squirrel in her arms as she gets out.
If I may, hearing this commotion, I think Safari Smith would come in to investigate what the heck is going on in his daughter's room.
Yeah. Your daughter is usually just so well-mannered. She's so polite. She loves all of her etiquette lessons. Why is she being like, what's up with this crashing of fine china and everything?
Yes. I come in, I see the butler stuffed halfway under the bed, covered in oatmeal. I see Maud out and clutching her pet that we wish that she didn't have, but we humor her and we grease his little hair and we wash him every day, sometimes twice a day.
I have a big handkerchief, like trying to get the grease out of my hair as you come in. I look over.
Maudlin, what the devil did you do to Hedgenold?
Maudlin, oh my.
Maudlin, is that really what you named me?
Of course, Maudlin.
And I'll go over and I'll help Hedgenold up and I'll take the pocket square out of his pocket and start wiping down his face and getting the oatmeal off.
Oh, do not bother yourself, Master Smith. I can take care of this. I just need a little bit of ibuprofen to deal with the swelling on the back of my head, and I'll be right as rain.
Yes, you know where it is, Hedgenold. You may go get as many as you like.
Shall I call for the mistress of the house?
Yes, please do. I believe our sweet little Maudlin may be having one of her episodes today. How are you, dear? Good morning. You slept quite long.
Mistress? Wait.
Your mother, dear. It's just your mother. It's all right.
I've never seen her before.
Well, Here she comes now.
And there is the click, click, click of high heels on the floor outside. And in sweeps a woman wearing a very luxurious dressing gown, complete like velvet rimmed with mink and ermine, all of it dyed, the sort of main areas of cloth a lavender purple, and the fur accents a deep aubergine purple. And she walks in and kind of whips off her pair of almost Rita Skeeter-style sunglasses, just the big horn rims with like little rhinestones all over them, flips her hair back out of her eyes and says, "Now, my dearest darling, whatever is the matter?"
I believe Maud had a nightmare. She woke up attacking Reginald. He's all right, and we are going to have a nice breakfast as a family. Aren't we, Maudlin?
I have 2 questions first.
Go on.
Oh, my sweet Maudikins, always so curious. Please, what are the questions you have for us?
Maud is like, her brain is just going 100 miles a minute. And she's like, wow, for a second, I was so excited to see my mom. And whatever crazy mushrooms doing, it's not working when they brought that in as my mom. I always thought she'd be like an elephant tamer or something. And she is just like, nope. And so she turns to Safari and she says, first question, where's Ripper?
Yes, your cousin. We haven't seen him in quite some time.
Answered
It's
wrong.
been months, in fact.
Nope. Okay, second question. What is my favorite and only liked human food, and where do you put it for me 3 times a day?
Safari Smith is sweating a little bit. There's some bullets of sweat popping out on his forehead.
Yes, and your wife looks at you with a concerned glance and says, "Why, Maudikins, if you want the hare à la royale, we can have Reginald prepare it for you. It doesn't have to be a special occasion."
She grabs Gerard and throws him at Safari's face and goes, "Get him, Gerard!" and bolts.
Sounds like a stunt.
Sounds like a stunt to me. Holy cow. Safari Smith, what do you do as this squirrel comes flying towards your face?
And I'm flying like Superman flying, like one hand held to my chest, the other right in front of me, full blown like fastball special right towards your face.
I am in utter shock. I don't even try to dodge. Like, this just hits me square in the face.
Yeah, Maud, let's have you then roll to attack with Quick.
Okay.
And let's also have Gerard, since she's using her stunt, let's have you roll with Quick also. And we'll add these together to one attack.
Oh boy.
My quick is probably a 1 because I'm jacked up on mushrooms right now, right?
That's true.
Yeah,
It's
so-
more forceful than Quick for you at the
Yeah,
moment.
he's pretty muscle bound.
Ooh, I got a 0.
I got a 3.
All right. So yeah, Safari Smith, 3 stress as the most muscular, massive squirrel you've ever seen contacts with your face in just a blur of talons and teeth.
That's what you get for messing with the queen of the forest. And I scurry down. His shirt and his pants to his pocket to grab whatever keys are in his pocket. Whatever keys I can find that are jingling. And I grab them and I put them in my teeth. If they're there, I should ask the GM if they're there.
Yeah,
They are there, in fact.
they are there.
I imagine it's a key ring with a couple of them, and I go, I got it! And I just back on the floor, trying to be quick and dodge out of the way of Reginald. Oh my gosh, what's his name?
Reginald.
Reginald. I was so close.
Yes, Reginald and Reginald are the gardeners. Reginald is the butler.
There we go.
It's so clear. I don't understand why all this confusion.
So I try to weave in and out of Reginald's legs, trying to go back for Maud.
Yeah, and as you two are running out, Maud, your mother turns around in shock and says, "Well, if you don't want the hare à la royale, perhaps the lapin à la moutarde? We could have Reginald prepare that for you." "No? Oh dear. Oh dear, my sweet little Moddykins, don't make me do this. And she reaches into her dressing gown and pulls out a net gun.
She's got a gun!
And starts aiming it towards you.
Gerard goes, she's got a gun, Mod!
Oh my god.
I picture Safari Smith in a daze on the ground. And I'm still picturing Gerard like, I guess you jumped down to the floor. I'm picturing you at this point standing on top of his chest as he's unconscious on the ground.
Oh, well, I'm obviously gonna dodge around the corner.
All right, sounds like you're defending with quick against your mother's roll to try and catch you in this net. She lines it up. It's got like a laser sight on it even. She pulls the trigger and you hear just this as it goes flying out and it starts whirling in a spiraling motion. And as it does, 8 heavy lead weights fan outwards.
Oh my goodness.
Until it's just like this spider web of a net fly directly towards you. She rolls.
This is Rescuers Down Under.
Yeah.
This is Rescuers Down Under right now.
It is.
She rolls a +4.
I also got a +4, so I am using a fate point.
Yes.
All right.
Hey, there's that extra fate point.
I am going to invoke my trouble, a different dictionary. So when Gerard yells, she has a gun, she feels that he says, don't run. And so she's just going to flatten on the ground and log roll.
All right. So that's going to bring you up to a +6 versus your mother's +4. You duck and roll, and coming around the corner that you were about to duck behind, you see Reginald come walking back in. Mistress, did I hear you say la pan a la moutarde? And he's got another silver platter in his hand. And at that exact moment, the net wraps around him and carries him off the balcony into the center of the foyer. And he just like goofy screams, "Yay!" as he falls down and lands in the central table in the middle of the foyer.
Oh my god.
No, he lands on top of the plated rhinoceros in the middle of the foyer.
Good grief.
He's just like hanging off of its horn, stuck in this net.
Oh my gosh.
Mod, we gotta find answers. We gotta find answers while we're here. I thought we were in the greenhouse.
Gerard, I think this is the inner house, and I've never been here before, ever. You probably have when you've snuck, I don't know, like cranberries or something.
This is the house inside the greenhouse?
Yeah, something like that. I'm not really sure.
Good gravy.
I've never seen an inside of a building. How do we get out? We've got to go to the big tree.
Now, as you two are frantically trying to figure out what to do, I imagine about this time, you hear stomping coming from back up in Maud's room, and a very angry-looking figure kind of peers out, like bursts out onto the balcony and stares down at you.
Can I just say that while she's running and doing this, she is also tying that ridiculous nightgown between her legs to make it like shorts, kind of.
Ah, yes.
Gotta gird up your loins.
Because we've never been in this house, I'm just gonna grab whatever key. I've only been in the kitchen, and I don't know where the kitchen is relative to where we are. So I'm just gonna grab one of the keys and go and just point at the nearest door and say,
Over there, Mod. Let's try and get this thing open.
All right. Go ahead and roll just one of your fate dice.
yes.
And I am going to roll one of my fate dice, and if we get the same symbol, then you chose the correct key.
Ooh,
I like
here
that.
we go.
Oh, man.
I got a minus.
I got a minus.
You chose the correct key.
No
there
way.
we go.
What is that? That is statistics.
A 1 in 9 chance or
There
something?
we go. There we go. I think so.
From the balcony, Safari Smith peers down. Maudlin, my dear, please calm down. You don't have to do this. This can be a nice day. And then I'll start running back into her room to run down the stairs.
You are an imposter. In fact, this rhino shouldn't even be here. He's having a soiree down in the greenhouse.
That's a good word, Mod. That's a really good word.
I don't know what it means.
As you mentioned the greenhouse, the front doors burst open and 2 figures come trotting in. Their march is perfectly in time. Did somebody say the greenhouse? And you hear a Yes!
I knew
And you
it!
see that Reginald is holding a weed whacker and Beginald is holding a massive pair of garden shears.
Oh my gosh.
Now, sweet Maudlin, you know you're not allowed to go into the greenhouse.
I am running in that door that Gerard just opened.
Come on, Maud.
As I dive towards the keyhole and use momentum to swing like the key open.
We gotta find answers, Maud. We gotta find them.
Yeah, you push the door open, and as you do, you see a hallway extending far, far off before you, extending further than you feel like that hallway should be extending. And as you peer down into it, it's almost as if you can see the hallway start to twist like a corkscrew. Ooh. The floor at a certain point becomes the ceiling, and vice versa, and there are doors that you can see riffling all along the walls like papers being rustled by a wind. Now, Safari Smith, your daughter is trying to go down a hallway that she should not be going down.
Maudlin, come out of there! And you hear banging on the door that is shut behind you.
So is it like easily walk throughable or is it like spinning?
Do you want to try and find out?
No!
Maud, it's all right. Throw me. You can do it. I like scrunch down onto my hind legs and like get ready to jump and like kind of scoot into her hand, like ready and like with my two hands in a diving position above my head to like break the air for aerodynamic sake.
You ready for this, Gerard?
I was born ready.
The banging on the door increases. It sounds like Safari Smith is trying to break down the door.
Wait, quick. And I pull out some floss and I tie it around my hand and I put the other like end of the floss in hers. And I was like, in case I need to come back.
Gerard, I'm having a crazy idea. What if we don't throw you, but we wait until he's trying to bust the door open and we open it and let him do the flying down the hall?
All right, we'll have to time it perfectly.
You tell me when. I've never been good at language arts.
I have perfect timing in the language arts. I'll be very careful about this.
All right.
I have a 0 in careful, by the way.
Nice. So, I think we can go with careful or clever for the two of you.
Oh, there we go.
Crap.
Now, Safari Smith, this sounds to me probably pretty darn forceful.
Yep.
But you are not normal Safari Smith right now.
That's true.
Just like how Grunt was not normal Grunt in our previous encounter with him, I think we're going to give you a +4 forceful.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
I'll take it.
Okay. Rolling with my 0 careful here. It's a -1.
Oof.
I got a 1.
That's a +6.
Wow.
Against our 0.
So, like, the two of you are like, okay, this is a good plan. We'll time it just right. Okay, and the instant you turn towards the door, it explodes in a shower of particles, wood splinters, brands flying through the air behind you, just spiraling and spinning like a confetti cannon as you see your father's foot step through, reaching longer than you feel like a foot should reach, and steps down right in front of you as the two of you are lying on the floor. Each of you take 2 stress from that, I believe.
Oof. Can I put it into a consequence, and my consequence being mildly concussed?
You can, in fact.
Okay.
Without thinking, I mean, the floss is already tied on my hand, so without thinking, I'm just gonna throw Gerard behind me
All right.
as hard as I can.
All right.
Maybe he'll take me with him.
All right, so, Maud, let's have you roll forceful, and whatever you get, we're going to add to Gerard's luck roll that he's going to make right now.
Ooh, here we go.
I got a 2.
All right. Now, Gerard, unmodified. This is just a flat luck roll.
This is perfect. My luck is great. It is great. That's a 4 with her +2.
Wow.
Holy cow. Yeah. So, Maud, you just like rear back, and in this hallway where things are already stretching beyond what their normal limitations should be, it's like this intense image of you with like extreme close-ups, extreme distortion as like you rear back your hand, and in the camera view that we have, it's massive. Your arm almost bending like rubber. You concoct this perfect pitch as you throw him, and we have like a close-up of your eyes, very determined. Then it zooms out, following your hand as you toss Gerard. He goes spiraling like just
A perfect football being thrown.
yeah, the sports metaphor that I'm so good at. Spiraling like a perfect football toss down to the far end of this hallway. And Gerard, as you're passing door after door, all of them just kind of like fluttering open and shut, you look through each of these closet doors and see skeletons on the other side. Skeletons in each of these closets going about their daily tasks. Whether it is, just a couple people having a little tea party in the parlor, whether it is one skeleton off in the backyard dragging a bag with a shovel over their shoulder, the bag wriggling slightly as it goes.
Oh boy.
You pass all of these closets full of skeletons as you continue to fly to the point where you can start to see, as you're just completely bypassing all of these hazards on all sides of you with your incredibly lucky roll and Maud's incredibly good throw, you begin to see a light, a pinprick of light appearing at the far end of this hallway. And the closer you get to it, the more the hallway starts to straighten out into just a standard, flat, rectangular prism of a hallway. And by the time the momentum of the throw is done carrying you, your feet land perfectly on solid ground on the other side, and you can see a large window in front of you. No, not a window, a tear of sorts. You see wallpaper in front of you. It's as if something has slashed through the wallpaper from the other side.
I look down to Maud, who I imagine looks like she's 3 miles away. But then I look at the floss that is still taut at my waist, and I look to the tear, and I just take a beat to kind of think things through. Is this dangerous to bring her down here? Trying to think through the purple fungus haze that is going through my mind, which I might be coming slightly off unless it's a permanent change, but I'm regaining some sort of mental faculty here as I just take this moment to consider.
Maudlin, come back to your family.
You see, as the elongated, stretched, unnatural face of Safari Smith starts to work its way into this hallway.
And you see his mouth move once more, but his voice is replaced with a different voice.
We love you so much, Maudlin. Please come join us. Don't run away.
Boy, are you dumb. I don't even know what those words mean. She's gonna take her stick.
The sharpest stick.
The sharpest stick. And she's pretty confident that not only is this not Safari, but it's also not a real being. And so she's just gonna stab at it.
All right. We're using our sharpest stick stunt.
We sure are.
Oh, 2 stunts working out real clutch for Maud in a definite, not life or death, but definite death situation.
Definite death.
All right. You know what? I will say, Maud, if you spend 1 fate point, you can tee up a narrative moment that I will then respond to. But if you spend 2 fate points, I will give you complete narrative control over what happens as you stab this interloper with the sharpest stick.
Wow.
Absolutely, I will spend 2 fate points.
Ooh, fungused Maud taking control.
So Maud just takes this stick and she jabs it into this Safari Smith and pulls down, thinking that it might tear something, it might rip something. She's having Ripper in her mind, just rip things. You gotta rip things. You gotta be prepared. And she just tries to rip this image. And as she does, all of those closet doors behind her, so it's in view for the audience, but not for her because it's to her back, those doors fly open and the skeletons come out and rush at this image that she is tearing and obliterate the image of Safari.
Oof. Yeah, and as they're rushing in around you from all sides, you can hear the clacking, this orchestra of bones jangling against each other as they rush forward, a low, breathless cackling following in their wake as the first one reaches out and clasps its bony hand right across the face of this image in front of you, and as it grasps, it squeezes into the flesh, and you see it distort and distend like Play-Doh.
So after I already said, I don't even know what those words mean, and then as I do this, I will say, and you don't even know what family means. It's not always whatever you just said it was, but it's being there, even if you can't understand the person or care about them or realize that they will never come inside your house. It's being there and never moving for 17 years. Okay? That's what it's about.
Now, Safari Smith, demon version, what do you say as you can feel all of these claws piercing into your being, ripping through down into your very core?
The first thing that you hear is this ghastly, unearthly shriek and squeal coming out, almost as if, as this ripping and tearing is happening, there is a bunch of compressed air or something escaping. And as he goes down, you hear the voice that sounds like Safari Smith, but not like Safari Smith, say,
Everything you do brings my 7 souls closer to me.
and he's gone.
Oh.
Seeing the skeletons rush into the hallway, Gerard's like, yeah, okay, Bob. Yeah, okay. And I'm just going to grab the floss and pull with all of my might using my abnormal squirrel fungi powers.
Yeah, that sounds like a +3 forceful to me.
Yeah. Here we go. Oh, it's a 6!
Yeah.
I just kiss my biceps. Here we go.
Yeah, Maud, you see this ghastly visage just completely subsumed under a piling mound of bones that continue to just pile in further and further, shambling and pushing back through the door. And in that moment, you feel yourself go weightless, and you're flying backwards down the hallway, watching this fake image of what your life could have been if you'd lived inside, watching it go further and further away into the distance until you find yourself caught in 2 powerful fuzzy arms.
Don't worry, my queen. I got you.
Oh, Gerard! And she goes to turn and hug him, and it's that classic of you feel all the feels in this moment where she's just so excited, and then she walks over him instead as she notices this ripped hole. And instead of hugging him, like, you know when you go in for a hug and the person ducks under your arms?
Ah,
It's
yeah.
like
okay.
that,
Yeah,
the opposite since she's taller. So she goes over him.
More pressing issues. I got it. Yeah, okay.
And then she grabs his arm and jumps into that rip.
Gerard's eyes are a bit unfocused, and one is like starting to get a little lazy from his concussion, but he's ready for this rip.
All right. Now, Ripper and Safari Smith, the real Safari Smith, both of you roll with quick to see if you can dodge out of the way of Maud as she comes flying through this rip that Esmeralda just cut.
I got a 3.
I did not. Quick is 2.
This would be the second time Safari Smith is not quick from an incoming stampede.
That's a 0.
Yeah, Ripper, you hear a noise from the other side, instantly dodge out of the way,
Grab Esmeralda.
just in time to see Safari Smith get bowled over once again, go rolling across the empty white expanse, and when you come to a stop, Maud, you are looking down into the eyes of your father.
Maud,
Safari.
Oh, Maud. Oh, jeez. It's good to see ya.
Ripper,
where did you come from? I think you broke a rib.
wait, I have a question first. Do you still find me repulsive?
I mean, a little bit. You could really use a bath or something, but I mean,
You're growing on me is the thing.
She's just gonna hug him.
Oh.
A very unnatural, like awkward hug, you know, like those people who you see kiss for the first time and never knew how to kiss. Like that, but in hug style, where it's like one arm is like awkwardly going to the wrong side of his ribs and one is like patting the top of his head, like really weird hug. But she's just gonna say, I like existing in your world too.
I don't know if Safari Smith has ever hugged anybody either, so this hug is equally as awkward coming from him.
And then threefold because Gerard 5 seconds in comes over and just hugs both of their legs and just kind of lays down and starts to pass out and go a little unconscious and be like, it's real nice,
Yeah.
nice white room.
And Safari Smith, you can feel like digging into the side of your face, the twigs that are stuck in Maud's hair as she's kind of like resting her face against yours. But it's like weirdly comfortable, despite the fact that you're holding this bundle of fur swaddled, like unbathed, unwashed, hair unkempt. I mean, she's your daughter, so...
There's something comforting about the wildness that she is, and there's a bit of pride coming in that hug from Safari Smith.
Aw. Well, Maud, as this is happening, she's gonna look over to Ripper and say, Ripper, I actually really missed you. Who's the broad?
Maud, this is my, this is...
Acquaintance.
Yes, this is the person I came to save, who I foolishly brought into the greenhouse. And I sort of whispered her, I do take a lot of responsibility for that, and I know we need to have a conversation. We will, I promise. We will have a long conversation about that, and many apologies. But Esmeralda, this is my cousin Maud, who I have known my whole life, and she's the one that has lived in the forest outside the mansion. And, yep.
Esmeralda gives you a wave and says, all right, well, it looks like the crew's back together. Are we going to save the world?
Are you sure you're up for it, Esmeralda? You just barely got saved from a torturous year stuck in this alternate fungi-infested dimension.
I know what it's like down there, and I don't want the people who are still down there to have to keep going through it.
Oh, that's hot. Oh, yeah. Cool. Yep. Let's do it.
I don't know about the world, but I do know that my father is behind this. And when one of your own goes bad, you have to put him down yourself with his blunderbuss.
Whoa.
I totally just did that with you, Safari. You are totally right.
Oh my gosh.
You did?
Mom did just...
Oh, look at this. Finding commonality. How sweet. How tender, how touching.
Commonality through patricide.
Yes.
You'll have to tell me about that later, dear.
Dear?
Maud, sorry.
Oh, I do like deer. They're always elegant.
Yes, DEER.
Well, I'm with you guys. I mean, yeah.
As we all go up to the rip in time or the dimensions, I pull out my book. I kind of like look at something and go, okay. Just make a note of something. And then I swipe right until I get an image that looks familiar of the greenhouse as it goes.
Ooh.
And I'm like, oh, there's the greenhouse. But it's not the greenhouse, right, Ned?
No, you look through, and it should be the greenhouse. It's got to be the greenhouse, right?
Got it.
But as you begin to peer in, and the details of the scene on the other side of this dimensional tear make themselves known to your vision, I think that's where we're going to pick up next time.
Oh, yeah.
What a cool image to have the skeletons of the family.
My goodness.
And all their closets deal with those that actually put them in there.
Indeed.
Very poetic, Heather.
Satisfying.
Look at that. Maud is alive.
Not dead.
Against all odds.
I didn't see that happening, but it's because you had her clean and bathed. Like,
Had her worse than dead.
Yeah.
I know,
You're
right?
like, oh no, not taking this lying down clean in a house.
In a comfortable bed.
So help me.
I loved that Heather, Ned was just describing a bed, And I think you literally thought for a minute that you were imprisoned in this bed.
I did. Well, when he was describing it, I didn't realize he was describing a bed because that's how I picture being in a coffin alive.
Oh.
And being buried in a coffin is. And so I thought I was in a coffin with like the satin sheets around the coffin and everything.
Oh.
Because it's completely lined in satin that hugs the body. So I thought I was in a coffin and I was like, I am suffocating. That's like my worst fear.
Well, I'm glad that we managed to skirt around your worst fear.
Hey.
But I imagine a bed is a coffin to Mod, so it works.
Yeah.
Yes, still suffocating. Well, everybody, we have but one more episode to wrap this up. I mean, I feel better about having had 4 extra episodes to try and take care of this. But yeah, thanks for listening to Improv Tabletop. We'll be back next week with the thrilling conclusion of our adventures in the world of Jumanji Falls. If you want to know what the thrilling conclusion is going to be like, go ahead and subscribe, maybe even give us a review. We would be as happy as a pair of folks who've never been hugged before, experiencing an awkward sibling hug, pat for the first time, if you would go ahead and give us a review on the podcatcher of your choice.
That was a nice call out.
It's good.
Oh, thank you. We're also all over social media at Improv Tabletop. It's there. I mean, you can check it out if you want to. I'll be busy checking out our email, improvtabletop@gmail.com. So if you'd like to connect with us, maybe you want to talk with Heather about what her other worst fears are and the ways in which we might accidentally trigger those worst fears on this podcast, don't be afraid to reach out. Now it's time to shout out our next batch of Sticker Club patrons. And the patrons we're shouting out this week are Tim Rust, Tyson Lanzon, and Adrian Garneau.
Hey, there you go.
These 3 skeletons in the closet were the ones who led the charge to take out the false visage of Safari Sam, possessed by his wicked father and all of his wicked ways, reclaiming the dignity of your family and putting to rest all of the injustices.
Wow.
Vive la France.
Vive la France. There was a lot of gas on that sentence until the very, very end. Anyway, thank you for doing your part to break the cycle of familial trauma and to ensure that things will be better for your progeny moving forward.
Remember, kids, go to therapy.
So true. So true. My parents got me to start going to therapy, and I am so grateful to them for it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That's our shout out. That's a shout out.
No, I didn't start going to therapy because of my parents. I started going because they encouraged.
Let me be clear.
Anyway.
They've always been loving. They've always been supportive.
So true. My parents have been to, I think, literally every performance I've ever done in my life. They are very supportive.
Aww.
I know that my mom is listening to this campaign because she loves Heather very, very much.
I love her too.
She loves Thomas and Caleb as well, but she especially loves Heather. Hi, Mom. I love you. How's it going? I look forward to seeing you for lunch this Friday as we're recording this. In any case, we'll have more Sticker Club patrons to shout out next week. And if you want to join their ranks, dear listener, consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/improvtabletop, where you can also get things like Discord access, biannual sticker packs, and more, such as our current ongoing patron-exclusive campaign, Serpent Sea Sagas.
Oh, yeah.
It is finally happening, our epic Norse heroic fantasy mythology themed campaign with all sorts of good old D&D tropes, but using a system that focuses more on story than on numbers. We are very happy with how things are going so far. If you want to come watch our good friend Connor get so much of his chaos gremlin energy out by being a lizard folk who doesn't understand the ways of the fleshy types, then pop on over and check out Serpent Sea Sagas. I'm quite happy with how it's going so far. Now, let's do a round of plugs. Heather, would you mind taking that this time around?
Thank you for the opportunity. Can I, since I talked so much and I feel like Caleb didn't get to a lot, can I pass it to Caleb?
You may. We'll come back to you next week.
All right. Well, thank you. First plug is a pretty cool little D&D podcast that we happen to be sisters with called I Cast Fireball, which is a great name.
Oh,
A
sure.
lovely name, a wonderful name.
Still a
That
great name, right?
undebatably good name.
Some great folks over there having some great D&D 5e adventures. go over and listen to them if you are thirsty for more campaignery.
So much thirst.
We also have a partnership with Fanroll Dice, and you can go over there and use the code Vroom Vroom Fifi, a great code.
A magnificent code.
From a wonderful character and a wonderful motorcycle. Go listen to Avatar Legends if you haven't. Going along with our Serpent Sea saga, I'm going to plug Skyrim.
Hey.
Guys, I'm like 14 years late to the party, but I just recently played Skyrim for the first time, and it's amazing. I love it. Very, very fun. Lots of cool Viking vibes. It's great. I recommend it. If you are also like me and somehow managed to not play it in the past 14 years, go give it a try. It's pretty fun.
You guys heard of this game Skyrim? What's up with this? Everybody, thanks so much for joining us here in the world of Jumanji Falls. I'm Ned Wilcock, your host and GM, and I've been joined by...
Caleb Anderton, demon dad thing.
Heather, surprisingly not dead, but bathed.
And Thomas, mildly concussed.
Much love and stuff, everybody. We'll catch you next time on Improv Tabletop.
Jacked up badger.
And now, the final option available...
It was
There's
Gerard.
Group mind.
Group Mind.
I'm getting out of here.
From a wonderful character and a wonderful motorcycle. Go listen to Avatar Legends if you haven't.
And that's where you put in this sound clip of what we heard earlier, Nick.
Oh, yes.